Moving on, those Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys
What a year for the
off-season
Cowboys.
remembering. It's the overview. They were there's not a lot of room to find insight trying to remember what happened last year. They were great. They were first in points scored, third in passing yards, 14th in rushing with Tony Pollard as their main guy. This was a great offense, and because they were great, we're not really seeing any changes in coaching or O-line. A couple of veterans on the O-line have retired, but they're brought in by young, high draft capital rookies. Did I cut you off? What do you want to say?
Their defense was good. That doesn't matter for fantasy, but also, they were just a good team all around. They were firing on all cylinders quite a bit.
We may see that defense change with Dan Quinn leaving to be the head coach of the Commies. But yeah, it's a really, really, really good team.
This is one of the few defenses I wanted to talk about for 0.2 seconds because this was a part of my big three scheme from last year. I tried to go with number one tight end, number one QB, number one wide receiver, and two of those died. So I had a number one QB and a number one defense on accident, and that ruled. Moving on, O-line still good. QB, though, position, Dak Prescott, ranked third last year, current ECR at 8.
That feels right.
Yeah, it feels right.
It feels right. Kind of bakes in some of the risk of he's a good to great quarterback, but there's 7, maybe arguably there's multiple guys ahead of him that we think are better players in even better somehow situations.
Yeah, the only thing I can really think of is not having Tony Pollard. You know, he caught a lot of passes, but also you have such a good receiving core here. Yeah. Is that really going to make a difference? You've still got Ezekiel Elliott.
I think, that bringing up Tony Pollard is a great point here because this team was first in points. I don't expect them to repeat because their running back room is just god-awful.
Yeah.
They've got Ezekiel Elliott coming back from the 1 year with the Patriots, and Rico Dowdle, who was an undrafted free agent a few years ago. These guys are going as consensus rank 37 and 45. I don't want either one of these guys. I think signing Ezekiel Elliott is one of the best things the Cowboys could do for fantasy football players in general, just to remove the risk of drafting Rico Dowdle at all.
Yeah.
He's the prime dead zone running back who was not good, moved into the head spot because other players left the team, and people think that makes a guy good or think that means a team thinks they're good. He's not. He's not a star running back. This team didn't want to go in with him as the lead guy so much that they brought back the corpse of Ezekiel Elliott. He's an old dead pig. He's not a prize pig. He's not a blue-collar hog. I couldn't think of a pig that he was. Like, who's a old, gross pig? A lot of, like, Grandpa Pig from Peppa Pig. But he still gets his. You know he's still out there getting it.
He's still out there just oinking, just rooting around out there in the field.
Have you watched a lot of Peppa Pig?
Yeah, I can't say that I have somehow. Being a childless adult.
He's a big pig.
Yeah,
Grandpa Pig, Daddy
I'll
Pig.
jump on Peppa Pig right after this. I'll just binge the whole season. Moving on to that wide receiver room. CeeDee Lamb, number one last year, currently ranked number one.
He's the number one receiver last year. People watching this, you could be number one in my heart if you subscribe and help us reach our goal of hitting 1 subscriber.
Yeah.
You could be number one. There's not a ton to say here. He's great. This offense is designed to get him the ball. Personally, I don't know that I am locked in with him as number one. I might go Jamar Chase. I could see myself going Tyreek Hill. That's fine. Any one of those top 4 guys could all be number one.
Yeah.
I have some notes here. I don't even really think they're worth saying. Like, he's great.
He's good. He's very good.
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks also
on the team. Very good receiver.
He can be good.
He is we talked about the commies and Brian Robinson, always underrated. That's Brandon Cooks, just always underrated. Last year, he finished as wide receiver 36. Not amazing, but he has a good track record. We have an idea of who he is, and he's now consensus rank 54 after finishing 36, always being pretty good. He's just always ranked a little too low going into every year at fantasy drafts.
If I remember correctly, I think more towards the end of the season, like right at the edge of the playoffs and so on, I think he started to perform, get some more touches and whatnot.
The team started to perform a lot better.
Yeah,
as the number one scoring offense. Sorry, I am just going to jump in and say this. Like CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott were both kind of bad to start the year compared to where you had to draft them. And then they popped off and were amazing. Brandon Cooks also rode some of that success later in the year.
Absolutely. We have a big three for this team. I think they are who we thought they were kind of thing. Expecting maybe not a number one offense repeat, but you still know CeeDee Lamb is going to be good. Dak Prescott should be pretty decent.
Yeah, there's not a ton to say. I don't expect them, just like you're saying, I don't expect them to repeat at number one because their running backs are so bad. Maybe number two thing is don't be surprised if they sign a running back late or trade for one. Every year at Labor Day, running backs are going to get cut off of teams. One or two that are surprising. Maybe that guy ends up on the Cowboys. Yeah. I don't think they are happy with this room.
No.
And third thing is just to make a point and say Ezekiel Elliott sucks now. That's point 3.
Yeah, just remember that. Because I forgot
points 2
I
and
picked
3.
him up. Yeah, I picked him up just to see if he did anything. Granted, he was on the Patriots. That was one of the worst offenses. But still, just not really out there doing stuff. Prize Pig, obviously CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Blue Collar Hog, that sounds like Brandon Cooks. You pay nothing for him and you just get production.
Yeah. Any other notes about the Dallas Cowboys?
Never do.
Yeah, just don't listen to me at all when I said that their defense was unbelievable last year and carried me through a lot of fantasy weeks. We're not ever going to talk about defense.
Do listen. That's true. We don't really ever talk about defense, and the reason we don't is because it's so hard to predict.
Yeah.
The Cowboys had a good defense last year. I don't really expect it to repeat. Don't ever draft a defense.
The guy who got the most pick sixes got his ass absolutely lit up by the end of the season. Micah Parsons is still there. We don't talk about defense. There's no point in talking about this. I'm sorry.
They might be. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to poop all over you. It's just so hard to predict.
I'm agreeing with you that me bringing it up was a dumb thing in the first place. I just wanted to say how they scored me like 40 points twice last season.
You just want to relive it.
This
could be a podcast that we just only release to ourselves.
Yeah, I think that would be ideal. Like, remember that one time when the Cowboys did good on the defense?
On the defense? For me?
What a time that was.
Cool. Wrap it up.
Bliss.